I want to share my story, but there's a problem. My pain is not as severe as the pain that a lot of people have endured. He said this to me on the phone, kind of working his way through the chaos of his mind and towards that calm and freedom of a blank piece of paper. And all I could think was, sure, maybe some folks have had it worse. After all, there's always going to be some who do and some who don't, but here's another truth. There will always be people right now who are where you were 6 months ago. Yeah, you didn't barely survive a car wreck. You didn't climb the tallest mountain in North America, no open heart surgery for you. But you did navigate heartbreak. And you did lose yourself and your purpose in your direction. And you did look in the mirror and ask yourself how in the hell you were going to put these pieces back together. And you didn't just sit there and let life fade away. In fact, you picked up the axe and you took a swing at that tree every single day. And now you're mentally tougher than you were, physically stronger than you used to be, surrounded by people who want you to win further along than you've been in a long time. And I'm speculating, but maybe ever. These things don't happen by mistake. And you're gonna sit here and tell me you don't feel worthy of sharing that because you didn't climb Everest with one leg or something. You went from 0 to 1. So brother, this is no longer just about you. This is about the people currently sitting at 0. Do you get that? You are a gift. See, this is an example of something we all do. And Lord knows, I wouldn't be able to recognize it if I wasn't myself guilty of doing it. The brain wants to tell us why we aren't ready, aren't enough, aren't worthy, why everyone else is more deserving. They've climbed higher, ran further. But everyone, and I mean everyone, has their demons. And so maybe I've triumphed in my particular lane over the hurdle of being vulnerable online. But guess what? When I walk into a room of 10 people, 5 who know my work and not me, you don't think I feel worried? I'm not perfect. I'm beyond flawed, in fact. These videos that have helped so many, they're a product of pain being experienced in real time. There is a fear of not living up or even being found out, right? What if I'm not the man on the screen? After all, this is but a fraction of me. And so how do you solve for this? Well, you keep showing up. You keep earning that confidence for you and for the people who will someday be where you currently are, so that you can be the one who says, see, you're not alone. This is the cost of entry, my friends. I don't speak from a place of perfection. I speak from a place of someone who's adamant about figuring it out because I'm capable and I'm worthy and it's possible. I can change the world, not because I was miraculous or broke records, but because when it hurt the most, I kept going. And that's all. That's it. That's the message in real time. And that message at the right moment, at the right place, landing amidst the right ears, well, that's worth more than gold. And so you, in your current situation, I would go as far as to say, not only can you do that, not only can you be that, but you have an obligation to gift that to yourself and the world. When I say the words, you are enough, I mean it not in the sense of roll over and go to bed, son, you've arrived. Not stop moving towards meaning in your life. But I mean it in the sense that you are armed with enough to take this life anywhere you want to take it. Just keep showing up. Look over that shoulder of yours. Stare into the distance and focus on that version of you way back there. That's who you were. Do you remember that? That's where it started. And every so often, I need you to reflect back on the storms you've walked through. I want you to think about the times that you felt broken or hopeless. Reflect back on the moments that felt like the whole world had it figured out, everyone but you, and how small those moments made you feel. And now, close your eyes and think, not only did you survive it, but you evolved. You've grown. You moved beyond the loss and the heartbreak. You stretched further than the fear and the doubt and the anger. Through it all, you were relentless. You kept going. That's who you are. And so if you ever doubt whether the road you've traveled is enough, kindly remind yourself not to disrespect the work you've put in. The hills you've climbed, the losses you've overcome and transformed into wind at your back. When you were there, remember how sweet the words, "I was once there too, so keep going." Because every step you take is not only etching into stone your new story, the next evolution of you, but it's lighting a path for those just a step behind. You are both the innovator and the messenger, the warrior and the poet, carving answers out of stone so that others may know the way. And friends, I'll leave you with this. Your greatness is not just about you, and it was never just about you. Your courage is a vehicle. So keep your eyes fixated on the horizon and keep moving forward until you can reach out and touch it with your hands, because God, will that feel good. For both the child inside you who wondered whether it was possible, and the people miles away who see a little flickering light in the distance that prompts them to be delusional enough to think, hey, maybe I can too. Behind our house, there were rolling hills, as far as the eye could see. And we would run them, we would run up and down until the sun disappeared over the horizon and we couldn't see our hands in front of our faces. In a sense, it bothers me that 25 years later, I even have to ask why something so simple and elementary could be fun. How something so out in the open could be profound, something so basic. Oh, how we've flipped the script. Now, today, I build and scratch and claw and fight and chase and seek and climb. But my soul just wants the hill. And you might hear that and think, well, how tragic to live in that gap, to exist without that which you so deeply desire. But let me reframe the scene. I never gave up the hills, and neither did you. They're there, covered in complexity, deemed at some point to be just a little too simple, a little too elementary, so we built on top of them. We laid a foundation of external expectations. We erected structures that would bring us validation. In other words, we built someone else's world on top of our own, called it a day. And as been one of my favorite sayings, two things can be true at once. Moving into the world means responsibility. It means more complexity. But it doesn't negate the fact that the precious things are the simple things. And while we often spend our days fixated on distant horizons, looking for those things, I continuously find that they're often under our very feet, the ground we walk on. It might be more conventional to look back on those moments as, childish, as kids doing what kids do, but I see it as more. In fact, I see it as the essence of life, the reason we're here. It need not be abandoned. And when you close your eyes, I wonder what that looks like for you now. The air cycling through your lungs, a smile on your face, your hair blown back by the wind. What is that moment? See, because when that's yours, you ignite. And if you think that's selfish, I have news for you. You pass that light right on to those around you. It comes through in the world you build and the structures you make. When you find those hills again, you give meaning to the meaningless. It's paint on the canvas. It's a melody to the song. And to say, oh, I don't have time for that. It's like saying, I'll breathe later while your head is being held underwater. No, it is the oxygen you need. We get one chance to do this, one ride here. And your gift need be presented to the world. Your heart should race, just like it did when the setting sun was calling you in, and nothing else mattered in the world. The entire universe is rooting for you to find those hills again. You have everything. You are everything you need. I just hope you'll summon the courage to grab it and hold on. Create like you're going to throw it all away. Like not one word matters. Like there is no audience. Because when you do it for yourself and yourself only, you can finally do it honestly. In so many ways, courage is just honesty. I think the inclination is to hide from our shadows, to attempt to outrun them, leave them behind. But the world I want to live in is a product of dancing with those shadows. It's in bringing them in and not keeping them out. A world with no separation between your hopes and your fears is one of freedom. See, throughout each chapter of life, excellence has evolved, and it's evolved along with me. Like a chameleon of sorts, changing, bending, transforming to fit the time. Excellence has looked like the courage to start at times, to continue at times, to not stop the right thing at times, and to walk away from the wrong things at times. It's been learning to put the armor on, and now perhaps it's learning to take it off, to step out and present that same message to the world, unpolished, less thought through, more flaws, more cracked. See, to be pristine is to be admired. To be brave enough to be flawed, though, to be so honest it increases your heart rate, to be so much of yourself that it creates a seismic shift, that's excellence. And we know excellence seems to always require of us what hurts the most in the moment. It demands we become what we most fear. It makes floors out of ceilings, does excellence, as it lifts us up each new stair in the staircase. And it's always amazed me, looking back, how while the context has changed so much over the years, the premise has remained consistent. Do that which you are most scared to do. It's Joseph Campbell's quote that the cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. Well, one can only peer into that black abyss for so long before the anticipation grows worse than the discomfort of the darkness itself. And so it has become time to dance with the shadows, not to destroy, but to make them mine. And so dance we will, round and round the flames, casting shadows and reeling them in. This moment is an inflection point. It's an inception. The first crack of sunlight at dawn. The first step of a journey to the stars. It is the day you transformed, and excellence right along with you. Look, the truth is that what got you here is not always sufficient to get you there. That what's made you will not sustain you. And so the question is, what lives beneath the surface? What lives under the hood and behind the curtain? And will you dig deeper? Will you allow your younger self to follow you into the abyss? Even if, out of sheer curiosity, will you step up and heed the call? Perhaps to be less produced, rehearsed, packaged, and in the wake of these things, become courageously you. Where courage and authenticity intersect, excellence is born. So what better time than now to rise again, to start anew? And I know you've pushed, I'm aware you fought, but for what? To lay down here? To give up now? When the greatest story is yet to be told? When the finale still lies ahead? When all that is meaningful waits just around the corner? No, move further into the darkness. Push higher into the night. Release more of yourself to the world. Go until you can go no longer. Do until you can do no more. Fight until there is no fight left in you. That is your ode to excellence. What is the difference? When I think back to the first time I deviated from my comfort zone, my routine, I lost the certainty in my life. And as much as I wanted to go back, I remember telling myself one more day, just one more day, until someday became the current day, and that made all the difference. Day one, starting my company, I remember turning the camera on and feeling so lost saying words into a microphone that I almost didn't press record. But I did. Until one day I realized not only was it bearable, it was my purpose. The vehicle that transported my thoughts to the world, and that made all the difference. During the times when some of the projects I invested the most time and energy into flopped, I remember almost saying, this isn't for me. But I kept creating. I kept creating until I found that intersection of what I love and what adds value to the world, and that made all the difference. What's crazy is how small a decision
That difference seems in the moment, how insignificant the decision feels as one stands and looks out from their doorway. The difference between going and not going, stepping out or staying in, making the move or waiting one more day. That difference is sometimes disguised in a cloak of triviality, but do not be fooled. The little decision to move forward, to hang on when your ego is screaming at you to just let go, walk away, find some semblance of comfort and predictability. Those decisions to endure in the moments of hardship are what we come to look back on as the turning points that reshaped and redefined life as we know it. The courage required to make the call, release the video, register the business, send the message, reconnect with that loved one, deviate from what your friends are doing. All those things, they may seem small enough now to spend a minute or two thinking about before moving on to our routines and what we are comfortable doing. After all, it's easy to disregard the small things. But the acorn that becomes the oak tree is small. We must, along with the current reality, see the potential in what those things become. And sure, there are times where the present and the ideal are so different that it seems almost incomprehensible. But how do we get there? We get there by making the little decisions that will ultimately make the greatest difference. You are always one decision away from that evolution. So next time you find yourself looking down at the step in front of you, the step you know in your soul is the right step, remind yourself, yes, it sure would be easy to walk away here. It sure would be easy to turn back. Yeah, it's just one tiny step. But in totality, it's exponentially more than that. It's the lifeblood of your new reality. The water to your sea, the oxygen to your lungs, the crossroads in front of you will be, with your permission, the beginning of something larger than life. It will ultimately be the difference. It's easy to look back and think about all the things you could have done differently. Especially since, as we get older, we get wiser, right? Time provides this beautiful gift of clarity. And ultimately, we realize things like maybe a lot of our hesitation was unwarranted. Maybe a lot of our decisions or indecision was fear-based. And knowing that, it's easy to look over your shoulder and feel like you could have lived a different life or taken a different path. At the very least, wish you'd done things differently. But the reality is, everything you've done has, in fact, taken you here, to this moment. And when you dwell on the past, the should-haves and the could-haves, you completely diminish the power of right now, the current moment. You completely underestimate the knowledge and the wisdom you've been collecting for years, whose single job is to assist you in your next move. It's a compounding of experience. The good, the bad, and the ugly has landed you right here, right now, and how beautiful right here is. The infinite blank page. The forever fresh start. And that's not to say the past doesn't matter. It's to suggest that your prior discomfort, your mistakes and lessons have equipped you to deviate from the routines and the cyclical nature of your past. Right? The past is a gateway to now, not a life sentence. And there's a difference. You say last year or last month or last week is valueless because you did X when you should have done Y. I say to that, doing the wrong thing has positioned you to now do the right thing. Potential energy, right? Like a spring being pulled back tighter and tighter and tighter, awaiting its opportunity to propel forward. You don't get that without those could haves and should haves. They're integral to the process. The reason you'll be different moving forward. You can say, I wish I'd taken more chances. I wish I was bolder. I wish I followed my heart. Two pieces of news for you. One that's fantastic. It seems as though you're now aware of those times you fell short and can therefore mitigate them moving forward. And two, you're not dead yet. We have to stop looking at yesterday like it's anything but a ladder to greater competency. The gymnasium for your decision making. Anyone can cherry pick the past, but the practical me asks, what does beating yourself up about what's gone do for you? What does it add to your life? Except for enabling and legitimizing the same identity you're looking to evolve and move on from. See, we don't limit ourselves because of right now. It's always because of yesterday. Look what happened. Look what I lost. Look how things turned out. And it's like, take the data and trudge forward. You now have the tools to move right into that darkness of night. And in 5 years, you'll look back and sure, you'll wish you did things differently. And same 5 years after that. But that's why life is a journey and not a standardized test. We are picking up the pieces as we go, painting the masterpiece one brushstroke at a time. And even though you might wish yesterday's brushstroke was a different color, a little darker, different shade, it's just as valid as all the others in contributing to the mural in its totality. So sure, be your greatest critic, but be your greatest ally as well. And that calls for being bold enough to let go of what's gone. Extract the value from yesterday and use it to build now. Something, anything, that's up to you, but hear the message. It's up to you now. Not who you were yesterday or what you did, not how people saw you or how you used to live your life. You have an opportunity now to go wherever your heart desires. Stronger and wiser at this point in time than you've ever been in your life. So rather than dwell on what's gone, how about asking how you can take those pieces of yourself and build again?